Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kholofelo Mokakabye. I'm from South Africa. Right now, this whole conference, what it's about is communication and being able to connect. One of the biggest problems around the world is communication and access to information, getting people connected. What I'm about to take you on a journey right now, I'm about to take you on a journey to a village that is about 100 kilometers away from the nearest cell phone coverage or any network or electricity infrastructure out there in the developing world. So basically, there is a community out there that does not have any cell phone coverage. It's a village that does not have electricity, not being able to make calls and not being able to have access to information. And that's one of the greatest Millennium Goals that this whole conference is about. My solution is called a Bundu ringing. It's called Bundu ringing because it's going to provide the first voice, SMS, and simple data service to part of the world that are remote and do not have access to communication. It's going to be able to use low-cost GSM base station to provide a service to this part of the world. According to the recent ICU report, saying 40% of the rural village in the world do not have access to cell phone coverage. Who's going to be using this service? As remote areas of the world that do not have access to communication, SMS, and simple data service. Rural farmers in rural villages that can be able to communicate amongst themselves within rural villages. And can also be able to make local calls around the surrounding villages of the communities. Basically, what is the value proposition for this? The value proposition for this is that people who are in rural areas who do not earn that much money can be able to make calls among each other, can be able to send SMS to each other, and be able to communicate in efficient and less cost-effective ways. And also, I think communication for rural areas, most people in rural areas, if they're going to be making calls, it's going to be a call to a neighbor or somebody around the next village. Who's my competition? My competition basically is going to be the guys who set up Wi-Fi mesh networks. The previous guy here just came and he said he wants to provide a mesh network. Basically, those guys are going to be providing mesh networks that are going to be able to make voice calls. And the problem with that is they are fixed. So with a mobile phone, you can be able to walk around any village, any community, and be able to make voice calls without the strictness of being fixed in your home. The implementation cost, of course, this is quite a big project, and most people are thinking, how is this going to be done, and how is it even possible? Of course, this base station is like 1/10 cost of current base stations that have been built. Is using open source softwares and open source hardwares. So basically, I've also done some calculations regarding the number of people that will be required to get return on investment. Like about 20,000, I mean like 2,000 people, the minimum will be required to get return on investment. The marketing structure that we will use, since small villages in most rural areas, people are very close and talk a lot. So I think word of mouth is one of the most effective. And also we can be able to post big posters around small community villages to let these people be able to see the posters and know that there is something like that. And the future of this basically is, right now in South Africa, we're in the process of digitalizing our digital television service, which will in a way free up a lot of spectrum for something like this to be able to provide service to rural areas. And also, this base station in the future is possible that we can be able to connect to the internet public switch and be able to make calls to other cell phone network operators. In conclusion, I would say what I've done so far, I've contacted the spectrum speculator of South Africa. I've also contacted the suppliers of the base stations and the softwares in whether if this can be done. And so spectrum allocation is pretty much important because you can't just set up any network and just operate. You need license to operate. The last part is why me? Well, I've also partnered with the University of Pretoria, which is the institution where I'm studying the electronics department to do something like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Has anybody got any questions at all? Yep, we've got a question. We've got a question.
Sorry. Hey, just a quick question. So are you thinking that the base station functionality itself would just be voice and text messaging straight off the bat? That's how you get the cost down? You don't have it interconnected to the internet or anything else? It'd just be a basic voice and SMS?
Just for base and SMS without connected to the internet. I think I asking if it's a bad idea or
is that what you're intending for the software, or is it that you intend the functionality to be the same as a standard GSM base station?
Yeah, basically, like for starters, we wanted to just provide voice and SMS because it's going to be costly for us to install backhaul to random operator. I think it's pretty much important for people to be able to communicate within each other, even though it's in a small area, to be able to accomplish universal communication, even though it's in a small area. I think that's pretty much important.